Let's continue our voyage of looking at Drag Race seasons without favoritism of certain queens with Season 8, or to be more precise, looking at Season 8 without the rule changes implemented on Season 7 to save Miss Fame and Pearl, and kept to save Kim Chi. Just like in the previous video, we'll be looking at two scenarios, the one starting with episode 2 and the other starting with the top 6 episode. Let's begin. Per tradition, Chi Chi's team is high, while Chi Chi wins the Maxi Challenge. Cynthia's team is so eligible to be safe, low in the bottom 2, or eliminated. The placements are quite obvious here. We get Derrick Barry, Robbie Turner, and Bob the Drag Queen as safe, Cynthia as the team captain who did not fuck up as low, and Kim Chi and Layla McQueen in the bottom 2. There are two outcomes to this. The first one is the one where they both get eliminated, so a double sachet, because Layla performed horribly in the I Will Survive lip sync, and we've all seen Kim Chi move. The second outcome is the one where, even though she performed worse than Layla, Kim Chi gets saved. Think Nina West versus Silky lip sync from season 11. Since we are trying to be as logical as possible, as fair as possible, and as beautiful as possible, we're doing a double sachet, which means that for the next episode, we need Naysha back. With Naomi winning the mini challenge and Naysha being the returning queen, the two of them get to pick the teams for the Ruko Empire Maxi Challenge. Naomi first goes for Robbie, while Naysha for Derrick. Naomi then goes for Bob, Naysha for Torji. Naomi goes for Chi Chi, while Naysha's left to choose between a queen that's hard to work with, a queen whose first language is not English, which could be a problem in a group acting challenge, and Dax, so she of course goes for Dax. Naomi's final pick is Cynthia, while Naysha gets Acid. Seeing how Dax would have probably got the role Kim Chi had, and knowing that Dax is very low-key and low energy like Kimberly, I don't see her doing well. Let's not forget that her two runway looks weren't so stellar, but who knows, she might have pulled something more fantasy, superhero-esque look for the runway on roller skates. Even though I said that we're trying to be as fair and as logical as possible, we do have to give the win to Bob, even though she wore this, and Torji, who did just as well in the main challenge as Bob did, this, and it was the best or one of the best, but definitely better than Bob's runway look, while Torji and Acid are high. Oh look, Team New York is the top 3. We can only dream. The save queens are Chi Chi, Derrick, Naomi, and Naysha. I'll put Dax as low here, with Robbie beating Cynthia in the bottom 2 lip sync. Episode 4 is the We Are the Girls of Dragometry episode, and we need 3 teams of 3. The first one is the obvious one, and it's Acid, Bob, and Torji, or Team New York. We know that the second group would be the Team Bestie group, so Naomi, Robbie, and then a third person. Chi Chi, Dax, Derrick, or Naysha. Didn't it sound like I just said or Naysha? I went on to Naomi's Instagram to see if she was close to any of these 4 girls, and the latest post that I could find with any of the 4 was from February of 2017, and it was with Derrick of all people, so I knew that my method of guessing this was wrong. However, with the fact that Naomi and Dax were paired up to do the countdown to the crown videos instead of the obvious of Naomi and Kim, I went with putting Dax in with Naomi and Robbie. There must have been some connection there, and they worked together once already. So our third group is Chi Chi, Derrick, and Naysha as it had been originally. So yay, we do get We Are the Girls of Dragometry here. We essentially have the same episode, just with Dax instead of Kim, and Dax's runway look does not matter, because the runway looks clearly did not matter originally either. I mean, these two looks were high and the winners look respectively. Why didn't they give the win to Naomi? Like, look at her! Anyways, yeah, as I've said, same outcome as originally. It's time for Snatch Game. We did not see Dax do Snatch Game, and I couldn't find her audition tape online to see who she had for Snatch Game. I did find an interview with her and Layla saying who they would have done, but for some reason it's blocked where I am, so like fuck them. She probably said who she would have done in some random interview that has like 500 views on YouTube, and somebody will feel some sort of a way and comment, actually, like, go away. I can't watch every single piece of Drag Race related media there is. Anyways, I would assume that she'd maybe have a couple of comic book characters in her repertoire, but wouldn't be allowed to do them, so she'd have to do a less prepared character and be in the low tier with Acid and Naomi. Bob wins Snatch Game, Thorgy and Derek are high, while Chi-Chi and Robbie are safe. Now, and originally, it was the Queen's runway looks that decided who'd be in the bottom two and who'd just be low. So Naomi, since she wore underwear and a bathrobe and tried to call that a kimono look, is in the bottom two. Dax said that she'd do this look, roll the tape.
What was your Madonna look?
It was gonna be girly show.
Oh,
like
cute.
black sequin lingerie, fetish boots.
So it'd be different, it'd be a tour look, more revealing for Dax, and probably something we haven't seen yet from her, and probably it would have conjured up Madonna more than Acid's look. So Daxalina is low, with Naomi beating Acid in the bottom two lip sync. Episode 6 is the makeover episode, and with the inclusion of Dax here, somebody who was shown not to be a seamstress of any kind, some queens' positions shift due to it. Naomi still wins, of course, but Thorgy's bumped up a placement, now being high. Bob is safe with a mini-challenge win. I think that the bottom two and the eliminated queen would have been the same, solely because I don't think that Dax could make something as bad as Derek and Robbie did. Episode 7 is an interesting one. So, the girls were put into pairs based on either who was friends with whom or who had beef with whom. I, in general, have a problem with this episode because wouldn't it have made much more sense to have Derek and Naomi as a pair, as they were at each other's throats from day one, and then Thorgy and Bob, just because Thorgy's constant annoyance with Bob over a mildly faked beef between Thorgy and Chi-Chi, and two friends working together in Naomi and Kimchi. But okay, let's follow the idea of putting Bob and Derek together, Chi-Chi and Thorgy together, and then Naomi and Dax. With this episode, we cannot judge the girls in pairs, because, yet again, that's not what we're doing here today. So, Roberta wins. I'm putting Naomi high here, because she had a good performance in the challenge and a killer runway look, even though it's not her runway look, but still. Then, I put Chi-Chi as safe. Hear me out. Chi-Chi was told that she had never looked so glamorous, both by the girls and the judges, and in Untucked, queens thought that the picks for the bottom two are Derek, Kim, and Thorgy, so we're being fair here. I wasn't sure what to do with the rest. Firstly, Dax is definitely in the bottom two, by this point she has to be. Derek was just like an enhancement talent for her and Bob's video, with a really bad runway look that went from bad to, well, you tried, because of that reveal, while on the other hand, Thorgy did okay, I guess, in the challenge, and then also had an okay, I guess look. I asked people on Twitter what they thought whose runway look between Chi-Chi's and Thorgy's was better, and I was surprised to see Thorgy's look getting more votes, but I did get the criticisms given for Chi-Chi's look. Personally, I prefer Chi-Chi's. Anyways, I put Derek in the bottom two with Dax, but Thorgy low, and of course, now we have to say goodbye to Dax. Trust me, even if Thorgy's in the bottom two here, which I find less likely in this scenario, it doesn't affect the final result. The 8th episode, or the Paperball episode, is up next. I yet again had to ask people on Twitter what I thought. I asked if Naomi was robbed, as the kids would say, given that Kim's final look was practically unwearable, a gimmick look, and that she only won because of storyline reasons. Namely, her mom not knowing that she was queer and also a drag queen, when realistically, Naomi had that challenge in the bag. We know that Torgerella can make stuff, and her runway looks range from okay to great, and with her tragic story with her mom, as horrible it is to say that, I have no doubts that she'd be high with Chi-Chi, whereas Naomi would get the win. Bob eliminates Derek in the bottom two lip sync. In the 9th episode, we just have to eliminate the queen with the least amount of points, and that queen is Chi-Chi. Oh my god, you only made this video to have Thorgy in the top 3, you hate Kimchi. And you were only made because your parents didn't want to ruin the new sheets and your dad was too cheap to buy condoms, so fuck off. In the finale, given that all 3 of these girls lip-synced less than twice each, they're all eligible to win the crown. Bob has the most points, so he did the best, but he also dominated the competition the most out of these 3 queens, so Bob wins here. Though I think Kim would have been the Miss Congeniality. Yeah, in this timeline we don't get Miss Congeniality, just Con. The second what if starts from episode 7, where we have Bob the Drag Queen, Chi-Chi DeVayne, Derek Barry, Kim Chi, Naomi Smalls, and Thorgy Thor. As I previously explained, the queens thought that Derek, Kim, and Thorgy were the queens eligible for the bottom 2 spots. Derek's look was horrendous, and she was just a secondary role in her and Bob's video. Thorgy's look, compared to the other 2 clown, jester, joker, whatever the fuck looks, was the worst, but it was still okay. But Kim's weaknesses really shone through in this episode, and we've seen similar, completely covered up, basically no silhouette hiding behind her drag look from her already, so having Derek and Kim in the bottom 2 is inevitable, as is Kim's elimination. Moving on to the ball episode, the placements and the reasonings for them are the same, so let's move on to episode 9. As you can see, Chi-Chi's score is yet again the lowest, so we have to say goodbye to her. The outcome of the finale is yet again the same, and I wouldn't put it past the audience to vote Kim as the Miss Congeniality instead of Cynthia. That's all that I have for this video. Don't forget that a circumcised penis is a sign of weakness and poor parenting. Thank you.